ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Thursday, April 11th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swan. We're going to open up our text line this hour at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Coming up today, I had a chance to sit in on a media availability with Marshall football coach Charles Huff. We're going to have a little bit of that. And, of course, we're going to hear from the victorious head coach of the Marshall baseball team in just a couple of minutes, Greg Beals, as last night, a game you heard right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, Jason Toy and Woody Woodrum had the call as Marshall goes into the 11th inning with West Virginia midweek baseball action at Jack Cook Field, and it was a walk-off single from Caden Kaiser in the 11th that gave the Thundering Herd the victory over the Mountaineers. Here's what it sounded like last night with the voice of Marshall baseball, Jason Toy.
2-2 the count, 2 outs, 2 on. Line up and delivery, hits a chopper, and this one drops, and the Thundering Herd comes away with the victory. An RBI single and a walk-off RBI single, and the Thundering Herd picks up the win with Caden Kaiser getting the job done.
Wow, Kaiser starts the Herd off with a bunt base hit tonight, and he finishes off the Mountaineers with a slap right up the middle. Just went with the pitch and took it right back at them to drive in Jack Firestone with the winning run. You know, Jason, it's just the Marshall way. It can never be easy. You go 11 innings, but Marshall gets their first win in some time over the Mountaineers.
Yeah, the Herd's now 10-4. Also at Jack Cook Field, not dropping a series or a midweek game at the new ballpark. Home field advantage is starting to build up for the Thundering Herd. Hopefully the Herd can build upon that. Marshall is now 12-19. The Mountaineers dropped to 19-13. Fun night last night at the ballpark. Weather wasn't so bad. Good crowd. I think the weather kept a few people away early, but it was a good crowd nonetheless and a fun atmosphere. And that's what we're talking about. Baseball, midweek or weekend, doesn't matter. We got baseball back in Huntington proper, and last night was a great indicator of what fun that can be. Win or lose, that was a great game last night for the Thundering Herd. Caden Kaiser talked about last night. He got that pitch that he wanted, right? That's what he was asked. Did you get the pitch you wanted? Kinda, yeah, no. I don't think that was the pitch he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't. I was trying to hit a fastball, and I just caught a hanging changeup out front and got it back up the middle.
Yeah, so the Thundering Herd victorious last night. After the game, Marshall head baseball coach Greg Beals talks about the win. Had a lot of nice things to say also about the Mountaineers, as you heard throughout the game how good this game really was, and there was a lot, I think, respect between the two programs. The two programs like each other. Beals, Maisie, those guys get along. The two programs really get it. And Beals talked a little bit about that as far as this game. He was asked, is this game good for the state? And he said, no, this game is good for the state, but it's just good for baseball.
Well, I think it's good for baseball. It's good for baseball in this state. And I'm fortunate that Coach Maisie has the same philosophy, and he's willing to do that, and that we're trying to support baseball in our state. And Coach Saban's going to take over the program next year there, and we're going to continue to do the same thing. We're going to continue to play a 3-game series every year.
Yeah, I like it. Play in Charleston. I think that's fun. Play in Charleston. You give people who maybe can't go to Morgantown or can't come to Huntington an opportunity to see both teams. There's a lot of Marshall fans and a lot of West Virginia fans in Charleston or close by. And it also gives fans from Huntington an opportunity to maybe travel to Charleston now and then. I'm sure there'll be fans that can make their way from Morgantown to Charleston. There'll be fans that just can't make the game either way, and so they can go to Charleston. It makes sense. I like it. And I like the fact that the two programs get along and they're working together. But about the game last night, Coach Beals talked about the win over the Mountaineers. They are playing a lot better. And I think last night showed that this team is getting better.
An all-out team victory right there. And that's what I told the guys out there, everybody. You know, it was everybody. Everybody had a little piece of it. We did a lot of little things. I thought we pitched the ball extremely well today. We executed on a team that's given us fits, offensively. The first 2 games we executed our pitching very, very well. We executed our team defense. The pickoff play was obviously a huge play in the baseball game. To get a second out of it was a bonus, but we were running a pick play on it, and Nick Wyrick's got a great pickoff move in that situation, so we executed that play as well. The sacrifice bunts, the defense overall, Gio Ferraro, a couple really nice plays up the middle on defense. Eddie Leon, a couple really good plays out in right field on defense. So just a little bit of everybody. Sure, Caden Kaiser gets the big hit, the game winner. 3 hits on the night, had a great night. We're in the right spot there in a couple innings. We had Kaiser up earlier in the game, Kaiser and Ayers, and we didn't get it. We had Kaiser coming up again, and we were able to get it. So just really happy for our guys. We've been working really hard, and this is a great reward for our ball club.
Yeah, fun game last night. Glad we got a chance to see it. And let's hope the series continues. Let's get your text in. We'll do that this hour. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. That's going to be our text line throughout the show. We're going to hear in just a few minutes from Marshall football coach Charles Huff, get his thoughts on a few things, including the air raid. He was asked about that today during a conference call with members of the media and the entirety of the football coaching universe. All the coaches got on the Zoom call, so we got a chance to talk a little bit about football this afternoon, and I've got Coach Huff's comments to share with you. And, of course, we're going to get into what we think is going to happen as far as Marshall football is concerned. We are about a week and a half, not even that, from the spring game, and that's not even going to be the finished product. We're going to see a few things, I'm sure, but that's not going to be the finished product on the field. That's just going to be the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what Marshall football is going to look like come, the start of the season. Even in spring, you get a feel for it, but once you get into fall football camp, it's going to be completely different. You build off of all of that stuff in spring ball, but it's still going to be different. Remember, we have watched spring ball before. We've watched the spring game, and there are players that have stood out, and then we don't see them ever again. And even more with the transfer portal, it's going to be something of that from now until, foreseeable future. Like example today, Marshall wide receiver Sean Reese entering the transfer portal. Also, Marshall long snapper Logan Howell today announcing intentions to enter the transfer portal. So differences will be... You look at the roster now, you look at the roster for starting game, it's going to be different. I know we put a little bit into spring ball. Spring ball's interesting, to say the least, because you're trying to build the foundation of your team for the upcoming season. But I take it with a tempered excitement because I can't get too excited for a particular player because you never know with the transfer portal if that player is going to be around. And, of course, the portal officially will be opening soon. Players might not be satisfied after a round of spring ball. They might decide to go elsewhere. Opportunity to bring players in as well. So there is a little give and take with that. But we'll hear from Coach Huff in just a few minutes, and we're going to hear from you. And, again, that number, 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. That's our text line. You can find me on Twitter. It's now called X, but it's still Twitter. You can find me there at Paul Swann. Looking forward to hearing from you today on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, Locally owned and operated. 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
You know, there's something about a truck you can count on and that SUV that's been on every family vacation for a decade. TikTok Tire and Uniroyal know your truck or family car is only as reliable as the tires underneath it. And that's why Uniroyal made the Laredo AT Tire and HT Tire to be the tires you trust. You know, like you trust your truck, your SUV, or TikTok Tire. Uniroyal Laredo AT and Laredo HT. See where 130 years of value takes you. For more information, stop into TikTok Tire, 2102 3rd Avenue, Huntington, right across from the stadium, or call 304-525-7831.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, and baked lasagna. Giovanni's has the best sandwiches around, from the stromboli, Italian sub, calzones, and their signature Big Red. All dinners will be served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's Pizza, fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want, from NCAA basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Imagine buying a pair of sneakers and getting a soothing, gentle foot massage like you'd get during a relaxing pedicure just by walking. Skechers' new Massage Fit sneakers. Because Skechers, the comfort technology company, has designed a unique innovation that makes it feel like you're pampering your feet with a gentle massage in every step. The secret is Skechers' new patented wave technology on the sole that gently massages your feet while you're walking around. Find them for men and women at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is The Drive with Paul Swan on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition of the show. Paul Swan, your host here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I've got my text machine open right now. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. If you were at the game last night, how much fun was that? I know it went a little late. That's okay. Still got everybody home in time for bed. But Marshall getting the win last night against the Mountaineers in the 11th inning in walk-off fashion. That's the best way to do it. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's the number to be a part of today's edition of the show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Earlier today, I had a chance to sit in on a Zoom with Marshall football coach Charles Huff. We're about a week or so out from the spring game. Give you a chance to see what this new look Thundering Herd is going to be all about, including the air raid. And again, this isn't going to be the finished product, so there might be some things that are still going to be installed a little bit later on. Fair to say, this is a work in progress, but this is laying the foundation now for what we'll see in the fall for the Thundering Herd. And talking to Coach Huff earlier today, he said that the team was in a good spot.
Really good spot here at Marshall. Probably our most ability on the team. We've been talking about ability versus talent. We've probably got the most ability we've had in our 4 years. Now what we've got to do, we got to convert that to talent. And the difference is we got a lot of guys that can jump and can run and can throw, can lift every weight in the weight room, can make one-handed catches. But in order for us to do what we need to do in the season, we got to convert that to talent, which is, you got to be disciplined. You got to run the routes at the right depth. You got to block the guys, the right leverage. You got to be in the right gap. Some of that gets confused a little bit when you talk about ability and talent. And what we've got to do here is refine that talent and make it really disciplined, make it really consistent, so that overall we can go out and execute in the fall.
That's what Thundering Herd is looking to do right now, and that's a good point. You could have talent, but do they have ability? And of course, I think you have to have both. You have to have talent and ability, and if you don't have talent, well, you can have ability, and you can develop your talent. If you have talent, then you got to refine it to ability, right? Sounds like a word salad. Still, I think he's got a point there. Most ability he's seen in a Thundering Herd team at this point of the process. One of the questions that was asked of Coach Huff, always, who are the leaders? Who's going to be the leader of this team? And traditionally, the leaders are the guys that have come up, they've gone through the process, they've done it a few times, so when they get to seniors, or maybe they've been here the extra year, we've had guys that have been here for a long time due to redshirt years or the COVID year, and so that's where you normally look for your leaders, right? The veterans, the most experienced people on the team. I don't think that's going to be the case with this team this year. Coach Huff changing up this process a little bit. The leaders aren't necessarily going to be the guys that have the most experience or at least the most years put in with the team. I think the leaders are going to have to come out naturally. You can be a leader, but I'm feeling like he's looking for people who are leading more by example, more in deeds, more in actions than I've been here a long time, so you can lean on me. New system, especially in offense, you're going to have a lot of people still trying to learn what this team is all about. You can't look back at what you did last year, especially on the offense, or the year before, because it's completely new. And Coach Huff explained a little bit more about what the process is all about when it comes to who the leader is going to be on this team.
Basically where we are now in college football, you've got a pretty much brand new team each year. So typically at this point, we kind of identify the leadership committee or the leadership groups. And what we've done is we've kind of waited, because just because you've been here a while, like an Ethan Payne, doesn't necessarily mean that you have the leadership qualities that we're looking for, right? Leadership is obviously, someone that can obviously do the right things, but you got to be willing to lead. Some people are just comfortable leading themselves. So what we did was we kind of let the guys go through the fourth quarter, and we kind of let the leadership evolve, and kind of who would step up and say something when something needed to be said. And then what we did, because in today's world, it's hard to be a leader if you can't match it with play, right? I mean, obviously you hope your best players are your best leaders. So when we were running around the gym and, in shorts, running around bags, certain guys were vocal and certain guys were leading. And then we were waiting to see who could actually put that together with playing. So we're still in that phase. We've got some guys, obviously, and Ethan Payne's a guy that's been here, that's taken a huge role. Logan Osborne, those two guys kind of probably got stock in Marshall University now because they've been here so long. And some of the guys that have been here through, all 3 years, those are some guys that have stepped up, and we're trying to see, because what I didn't want to do is, well, just because you've been here a while, you're a leader. We could have had a new guy walk in. Some of the new guys have walked in and had really good leadership qualities. So we're trying to let that, kind of decide so that way when we select leaders, it's not, well, he's the best leader, but he never on the field, or he was new and he led for a while and then, things change.
Coach Huff's philosophy when asked about that question. So you might have been here a while, but that's not necessarily going to mean you are a leader. So you go performance-based, I think. If you got good leadership qualities, doesn't matter if you've been here 5 years, 6 years, 1 season. Let those leadership qualities shine through. I think that's the philosophy we're seeing and hearing from the Marshall football team and the head coach, Charles Huff. Now, the big questions are still going to be, and we'll have those questions for some time. Air raid. How's the team adjusting? What's this team going to look like? Everybody's talking about the air raid, and it's going to bring back a level of at least excitement for Thundering Herd football. If Marshall's successful with the air raid, it's going to bring even more success to Thundering Herd football and a lot more excitement because it's fun. That's the balance here. I want to win games, but you want to go and have fun. What's more important to you? Winning in the most boring way possible, having fun the most exciting brand possible, trying to find that balance. I think that's ultimately going to be the question here. For me, I like winning. I'll take a 1-point victory any day. A victory is a victory, right? Victory is a victory. But air raid, hopefully going to open up things for the Thundering Herd, make it more exciting, bring people back to Jones C. Edwards Stadium to watch Thundering Herd football. Throw that ball, baby. Throw that ball down the field. Throw it down often. Throw it early. Throw it often. 4th down, hey, throw it as well. That's what I do in Madden, right? Well, thankfully this isn't Madden. Thankfully Coach Huff doesn't have a game controller and isn't prone to doing things like that. But he was asked about adjusting to the air raid. How are the players, how's the team adjusting to the air raid?
Well, I'll say, and I've been I took a step back and kind of looked at it from a fan perspective because I didn't want to try to get too much involved and not know. So I sat in on the meeting just like the players would, taking notes. I sit in the back and I treat it like I'm a freshman trying to learn it. I'll say it's fun. It's simple. There's not a lot of, concept. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of understanding of spacing. There's a lot of opportunity to go make plays. It doesn't matter what position you're playing. I think the guys that have had some experience in it, like an Elijah Metcalf, it clicks a little bit more. What it's created an opportunity for everybody on the offense. Sometimes when you are 3 or 4 years in the same system, your knowledge or past experiences kind of give you a little bit of an edge. Logan Osborne is sitting in the room learning the new terminology and the new angles and the new plays. Just like, Elijah Ellis, who's one of the transfer linemen that's come in, same way Elijah Metcalf is. And what you've done, what we've been able to do is we've been able to kind of reignite that flame of excitement, because guys are coming in wanting to learn.
Also, we want to know just how far along are you? We know you're putting it in. We know players are excited. We know the fans are excited. But this is brand new. You're changing up what you've been doing to something else. And if it's successful, everyone's going to be happy. But at this point, what's the actual progress? I mean, is this a work? We got some time here before we put this thing together. You're far behind. Are we going to be ready for fall football? Where are we at right now when it comes to actually putting this thing in and making sure it works come game day? Coach Huff updated us on the progress of where the install is at.
Obviously, we're still putting the pieces together. And one thing I wanted to make sure is that we didn't try and go too fast. We had a long time before we play. It's not a very comprehensive playbook. So we took our time. We really spent 2 days on each install. And now we're able to go back and kind of go one day at a time, which has been really good. I think, we're kind of, in the mode of the Masters, we're kind of in moving week, right? Guys have the installs in, we've repped these plays multiple times. You're starting to see guys actually progress and develop. You're starting to see guys string 2 and 3 practices together. So it's really exciting. Obviously, we've got to be able to carry that over into the season. And then, you start putting in opponent pieces to it and what defenses you're going to see. But these first, 3 months have been, extremely exciting. It's been kind of rejuvenating for me because I know I've had to actually go back and learn, right? Football, but you want to be able to know the whys and the nuts and the bolts of it. And it's been really good.
I think a lot of people are excited just on the standpoint that you're putting something new in, something that fans have asked for, more exciting brand of football. Yes, you want to win, but at the same time, you want to go out and watch a more exciting brand of football. And this feels like more like a Marshall football offense should look like. And it's good to hear that Coach, he's definitely bringing the people in to install this. He's also making sure that he is taking the time. He's learning it again, going in you heard him. He's like a freshman. He's going in, he's taking notes. He's making sure that he understands, not just, okay, we're calling this play. Why are we calling this play? So these are good things to hear from a head coach. And, of course, Coach knows what he's doing. It's just sometimes you want to hear it to reassure the fans because, let's be honest, there's been a lot of herd-on-herd crime when it comes to Marshall football. Is that fair to say? I think it is. Still talking about the quarterback progress here at Marshall. We'll do that when we continue. And, of course, we're going to get your text in. 304-396-TALK, 396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Where are we heading?
We're going to Red's today.
Oh no, are they fixing Mom's car?
No.
Did the tow truck pick her up?
Nope.
But you said we were going to Red's.
We're going to Red's Truck Center. At Red's Truck Center, they work on big trucks and RVs and have a big showroom full of parts and accessories. More than 40 product lines in the parts department.
So Red's is more than tow trucks and fixing cars?
Yes, dear. We buy all of our truck parts and RV parts at Red's Truck Center, just off US 35 in Bidwell, Ohio, across from Love's. Stop in and see us.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From NCAA basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. In Milton, Eric Dodson, 304-390-4515. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149. Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road. Equal Housing Lender, member NCUA.
Imagine buying a pair of sneakers and getting a soothing, gentle foot massage like you'd get during a relaxing pedicure just by walking. Skechers' new Massage Fit sneakers. Because Skechers, the comfort technology company, has designed a unique innovation that makes it feel like you're pampering your feet with a gentle massage in every step. The secret is Skechers' new patented wave technology on the sole that gently massages your feet while you're walking around. Find them for men and women at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
In the tapestry of life, we encounter stories of legacy and accomplishment, but sometimes also abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Adult Protective Services understands the importance of safeguarding the well-being of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our community. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL, HHS, and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by, ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is The Drive with Paul Swan on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back. It's our Thursday edition. Text line is open 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255 for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to hear more from Coach Huff in just a couple of minutes. I want to get your text in. And we got some news of the day to get into. We'll do that now. Let's first go to the text line. Texter wrote in and said, Paul, it should be obvious to all concerned that the time has come for Marshall to stop participating in athletics. That is not a statement I make lightly. As an alum and a Big Green member, it's hurt me to say this. But the fact is we can no longer compete in the National Cash Advance Association. Marshall is an underfunded school in one of the poorest states in the nation. Anytime we have a coach or player the big buck states want, they just wave $1 under their nose and off they go. Keeping coaches has always been a problem, but now with the transfer portal, keeping a team is almost impossible. You can't build a program with turnover year after year. The smallest high school in West Virginia has more athletic stability than Marshall. We had a great run, lots of fun and magic moments, but the time has come to put Marco out to pasture. I sincerely hope someone can prove me wrong, but I doubt it. I appreciate the text. Thank you for that. That's a lot to unpack there. I don't know if it's something that Marshall should do. Just, look, we're done. We can't do this anymore. I think you're going to see a balancing out eventually, and the haves are going to have more, and I think there's going to be more of a, I don't want to say we're going to go back to the division levels again, the way, we're not going to have a 1A, a 2A. I don't know if we're going to do that again, but I think the power schools are going to continue to get bigger. They've got the money, the resources, and the influence. And I think there's going to be a lot of those schools that think they're power schools now that are going to be on the outside looking in when it's all said and done. And you might see some of those power schools break away, and that's fine. I mean, they're playing at a different level right now. I mean, it doesn't mean that Marshall can't compete, and Marshall should strive to be as competitive as possibly can be. And always said this, if you want things, well, it's going to hurt in the pocketbook. If you want Marshall to be able to succeed, you're going to have to spend some money. That's what happens at the other schools. They get bigger television contracts, obviously. They have a larger donor base that contributes to athletics. There are different opportunities there. And, of course, I know NIL is going to be a big one. Where is NIL money coming from if you're Marshall University? If you're a school like Ohio, if you're a school like Morehead State, if you're a school like Western Kentucky, just to name a few. If you're a school like Akron, I'm just going to name schools that are in the area. If you're one of those schools, where are you getting your NIL money to try to compete? And so I hope that it really shakes out, that we get a handle on this. But the whole idea of name, image, and likeness was to allow student athletes to be able to profit off of the name that they've created for themselves, and that includes their image and likeness. So if I have a sort of fame surrounding me, I'm the starting quarterback at Marshall University. I'll use Cole Pennington's name as the example. And not implying anything, I'll just use him as the example. Cole Pennington has some name right now. He has name, he has recognition. There's a brand there. Now, it's up to him how far that brand goes, but there's some name recognition right now with Cole Pennington. He's the son of a famous quarterback at Marshall University with Chad Pennington, of course. Now, Chad's the real brand, but Cole has an opportunity here in the future to make a name for himself and create his own brand. And he should have the opportunity to be able to profit from the brand that he has created for himself, because other students are able to go out and earn extra income. The advantage here is that you could be the starting quarterback at Marshall University, and you're sitting here in your dorm room on a Friday night. You could barely afford Taco Bell. Now, you're getting your education, hopefully, covered for the most part, but you're sitting in the dorm room. You have maybe a few bucks in your pocket, and so name, image, and likeness was going to give you the ability to actually profit a little bit, make some money here. And it's exploded. It's exploded to the point now where I don't know how we regulate this to make sense. And it's come to the point where we're just giving cash out. Hey, here are the name, image, and likeness opportunities for you. And I think it should be not just cash. Okay, hey, we're going to give you cash. You should be earning that money. There should be services. You are providing services. I don't mean your play on the field or in the arena. I don't think those are the services here, that we should be talking about with the current iteration of name, image, and likeness. And of course, there's the whole argument that student athletes are employees. I don't know where you fall on that side of the argument, but that can completely change it as well. I mean, what if you make student athletes employees? Then you're paying them. Then it's going to be obvious that Alabama's going to outspend you. Why do you think that Kentucky basketball is in a shakeup right now? Part of it is there's better name, image, and likeness opportunities elsewhere than in the great state of Kentucky, believe it or not. Or at least in Lexington. shocking as it may sound. Good text. I appreciate that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Another piece of news that came across my desk today. Marshall University announcing that Dan D'Antoni is now an ambassador, and he is an advisor. And what the university in a release today said is in support of advancing its visionary strategy, the university's visionary strategy. Marshall for all, Marshall forever. It's a roadmap that, according to the release, aims to level the playing field of opportunity for all who have the aspiration and grit to try. So this comes down from Marshall president Brad D. Smith. He said in the release, there are few in Marshall history that epitomize the phrase Marshall for all, Marshall forever, like Dan D'Antoni. And so Dan's now going to be in this new role. He's going to be a Marshall ambassador and an advisor. And what that means is, and again, this is according to the release, he's going to collaborate closely with Marshall's president to inspire the next generation of high school students to dream big and to choose Marshall as their gateway to prosperity. What does that look like in practice? Well, he's going to support what has been successful so far. It's the Run with the Herd initiative, which will spread the word. Champion is the word that was used. The Marshall story across West Virginia and throughout Appalachia. In addition, he's going to engage with potential and long-standing donors to advance the university's aspirations. There are a lot of people who love Dan D'Antoni. I like Dan D'Antoni. The difference is I don't have money to donate, so I can't help you here. But there are a lot of people that love Dan D'Antoni and have money, and so Dan's now going to talk to them and try to translate what the university is wanting to do into paychecks and cash coming into the university to maybe facilitate that. So he's going to be an ambassador and a technical advisor for the Thundering Herd. And I think that's a good role for him. If you got a guy who loves the university the way Dan D'Antoni does, he's going to be able to honestly translate that into probably a really good pitch. He's going to make a good pitch. He's going to be a good spokesperson for the university. And, of course, this means that the university and Dan are still on good terms. And I know there was some doubt that maybe Dan and the university and the administration maybe not on the best of terms because Dan's no longer the basketball coach. This is a good opportunity for Dan to try to continue to make an impact at Marshall University. And I hope he's successful with it. And I appreciate the president trying to grow the university because what's one of the things that Marshall University suffers from? There's not a deep alumni base compared to some of the other universities across the country, including the one in Morgantown that everyone seems to talk about. So to build the university, and there are a lot of initiatives that are going on right now to improve the curriculum, create those academic opportunities that are going to benefit the state, benefit the region, create opportunities and spaces that weren't there before. You're going to create new alumni, hopefully successful alumni, and then they're going to pay it back to Marshall University. And at the same time, if you've got a more diverse, deep alumni base, you're going to have a lot of more opportunities to generate more money. That's the thing. That's the work. They work the alumni because they know they're the people that will support the university. And so how do you do that? Well, you got to grow the university. How do you do that? Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who love watching football on Saturday, but how much are they really giving to the university? They're giving to the athletic department, but now if you increase the alumni base, they're going to give to the university, give to the athletic department. The more alumni you have, the more potential pocketbooks you have to open up. And Dan D'Antoni, of course, will be somebody that a lot of people will be willing to talk to and maybe help write some checks for aspirations the university has. We'll hear more from Coach Huff. What's the quarterback situation look like at Marshall University for the football team? We'll talk about that. Air raid That's the big word, air raid. How are they adjusting? More on that when we continue with this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Working Man Store in Huntington. Check out the biggest inventory of scrubs in West Virginia, featuring brands such as Healing Hands, Dickies, Cherokee, and Med Couture at the best price. Working Man Store has one of the largest selections of big and tall shirts, jackets, and jeans in the area. Working Man Store is the king of blue jeans with Levi's, Dickies, Carhartt, Lee, and Wranglers in sizes up to 72. And Working Man Store has the best selection of men's work boots and casual shoes anywhere at the best price. Working Man Store, open every day at 140 5th Avenue, Huntington.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Looking to sell your vehicle and receive well above current market value? You're in luck, because that's exactly what you'll get during the grand opening of the Glockner Buying Center at all Glockner locations. Glockner's partnership with Kelley Blue Book allows us to offer above current market value for your vehicle in under 15 minutes. No appointment necessary. Even if you choose not to buy from us, we will still buy from you. That's how easy it is to sell us your vehicle.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Deep in the mines of the coal fields came a wonderful sound, the sound of a cat living in a mine. The Coal Cats sees light. The Tri-State Coal Cats have arrived. Baseball is back in the Tri-State. Tickets are now on sale. Group tickets as low as $5. Get info now at herdzone.com and use the promo code COLCATS. Plan now for a summer of fun with the Tri-State Coal Cats. Coming to the brand new Jack Cook Field in Huntington. Get your group together now and enjoy the game. Season tickets are now available. Get Tri-State Coal Cats.
Imagine buying a pair of sneakers and getting a soothing, gentle foot massage like you'd get during a relaxing pedicure just by walking. Skechers' new Massage Fit sneakers. Because Skechers, the comfort technology company, has designed a unique innovation that makes it feel like you're pampering your feet with a gentle massage in every step. The secret is Skechers' new patented wave technology on the sole that gently massages your feet while you're walking around. Find them for men and women at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is The Drive with Paul Swan on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Plenty of time to hear from you. The Drive continues, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been listening to Coach Huff from a Zoom presser earlier today. If you missed any part of that earlier in the show, you can go back and catch it later on our podcast. You download that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can even go to our website, WRVC.com. You can listen to it right there, or just wherever you get your podcast, you can find The Drive with Paul Swan. So we heard earlier from Coach Huff about how this team is preparing and transitioning into the air raid offense. It's going to offer, I think, an exciting brand of football if it's done right, and hopefully Herd fans are going to respond to it. And that's been a complaint I've heard from many Herd fan about, well, it's just boring. We're not having fun. Well, this should be fun. I know Coach Huff is excited for the air raid offense. And the big thing here is there still a filling out process? You're asking quarterbacks to run something that maybe they're familiar with, maybe they're not. It just depends on the individual, but you're changing up your complete offensive philosophy. You're going to be running a new system, and so the quarterbacks you have in place right now, there's going to be a learning curve to getting ready. And Coach Huff was asked, is there sort of a filling out process? You know, you're still trying to feel your way around what this is going to look like with your team. Coach responded.
I think it's still, I won't say trying to fill things out. It's trying to see who can be the most consistent, you know, and part of that is giving them the full time to embrace not only what we're doing, but how the defensive reaction. It's easy to call a play and here's your ABC read. But okay, what happens when you see pre-snap coverage? Are you able to go to the B read right away? What happens when you don't have the necessarily right answer? What are you be able to do? I think it's been really good for Braxton and Cole because, again, neither one of them had an edge. So every day is kind of their identity reel. Every day is kind of their library of execution. The biggest thing for me is going to be who can not only master the system, but get a good grasp of it, but who can go out and execute in the variables, right? Now, who can not only just know what to do, with this play call, but who can execute in the variables, who can fix things on the fly, who can, alert certain things, and who can have answers for why they went to certain routes or certain runs based on certain looks. Ultimately, that'll be the guy that will give us, the best chance to win.
Tell me you don't have a quarterback picked without telling me you don't have a quarterback picked. I think that's what we heard there. We don't have a quarterback starter yet. And that's fine. I don't think we should have at this point in this early stage of the process. So don't tell me, hey, coach, should start this quarterback. I don't want to hear that. Let's get down to fall. Let's get past spring. That's going to tell us a little bit, but just get past that. Let's get to fall. Then we hopefully will have a quarterback in place that can run this the way that we're looking for. It's going to be important. It's going to be important. Marshall's going to have to get off to a good start, and it's going to have to do it in a hurry because the early part of the schedule is going to be really tough. And then we're going to get into the conference side of things. And if Marshall isn't meeting certain expectations by a certain point of the season, I know it's going to be difficult for a lot of Herd fans to stay on board with this team. I could be completely wrong, but there might be a point in the schedule where, all right, if you're not seeing certain things that you are looking for, and that includes wins, I don't know what the back half will look like, but we're leaping way too far ahead. Let's get through spring ball first. And speaking of getting through spring ball, we will be about a week or so out from getting a kind of an idea of what this team looks like, at least a more public showing of what this team looks like. And the one thing that Coach Huff was confident about earlier today when we talked to him, with the current players he has, with the current guys in the room, he feels like this team, his guys, can win with the air raid.
I do think with the 3 guys we have here, I think we've got enough to win with. Obviously, we haven't played a game and, in spring ball, things are a lot more controlled. But I've been very impressed with Braxton. I've been very impressed with Cole. Even Ja'Kai, he's got a little bit of air raid experience from high school. So he's had a little bit of a jump, beyond the normal freshman that comes in mid-year. So it's been really good. Again, Coach Daggy does a really good job of holding those quarterbacks to a high standard. So it's really difficult to say, oh, this guy is running away with it, because even when you have a good day, there's so many other things that, we're able to point out where we have to improve, that it's kind of kept the battle good. And it's been a competitive, fun battle. Sometimes you're competing, but, Tom Brady's been here for 15 years, I'm competing with him, but am I really competing? We don't have that. It's truly wide open. And I think the players appreciate that. I think the players like that. And ultimately, that's what speeds up your development.
Coach Huff earlier today, we'll have more from him tomorrow, and we'll focus on the NFL with Coach Huff. Where does the Herd go from here when it comes to the NFL? And I'm talking about a couple of specific players. I think you know who I'm talking about. That's coming up for tomorrow. Text lines 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. On X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. You can find me there. Earlier today from X, I got to ask this. If I could ask Coach Huff if he'll have the backups ready this year. I think everybody's got to be ready this year. There's no getting away from that. Everybody's got to be ready this year because you're, at least on offense, you're learning a new system. So everybody's got to prepare and get ready. And let's be quite candid here. We have a coach that's in the final year of his initial contract, I don't think he's going to just take it lightly. Because we've seen several coaching changes at Marshall University under the new administration. There have been changes. This is an athletic director that will make a change if it is warranted in his mind. That's what the athletic director does. That's his job. And so if Marshall football doesn't progress by whatever metric we're looking at, and the athletic director's metrics are going to be different than your metric, which is going to be different than my metric, which might be the same in some places, but it's all going to be different. I don't think coaches sitting by, we just need one quarterback. I think with this air raid system, I think with the changes they've made, I'm hopeful that this coaching staff will be able to get this team ready to go. And I mean everyone on this team, but I get where you're coming here. You want to make sure that this team has some depth, and that's going to be key for this team in this system. Build depth. Have guys that are ready to go. Next man up. I get that mentality completely. Text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 if you want to get a part of today's edition of the show. And don't forget, again, if you missed any part of the show, you want to go back and hear a little bit of what Coach Huff had to say today, you can download the show on the podcast. Apple Podcasts is the best place to get it, or Spotify, or you can go to our website, WRVC.com, or someplace completely different. It's wherever you get your podcast, you'll find The Drive with Paul Swann. And I think that's going to pretty much do it for the show for this part of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with a little bit more from Coach Huff, talking about the NFL prospects for the Thundering Herd. Of course, the Thundering Herd in baseball and softball getting set for some road series. Softball team's going to be on the road. They'll be JMU. Marshall baseball, on the other hand, going to try to bounce back from the euphoria of beating WVU last night. And they're going to try to take on number 19 Louisiana, and that's going to be in Lafayette, Louisiana, coming up this weekend. So you got to go from the high of winning an 11-inning showdown with West Virginia last night, which was an exciting game, and then you're going to have to take that on the road and take on probably an even better team in number 19 Louisiana. Some good baseball being played here in the Sun Belt. So the West Virginia game, enjoy it now. I would already put it aside and start focusing on Louisiana. And there was a lot of excitement last night. There was a lot of excitement last night in that game. I think Coach Mazey even said it best. I believe he was talking to Luke Creasy from HD Media yesterday, and he's talking about the excitement and the atmosphere here. And he had a lot of nice things to say about Marshall baseball, because he's a guy that understands that it's good for the state. And I know I'll get a few guys, you know who they are, they're going to at me on Twitter later that the game is not good for the state. You know who you are. I look forward to hearing from you on Twitter X. That's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And don't forget, anytime you miss the show, subscribe, and it'll come directly to you on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any podcasting app you use, wherever you get it. Thanks for tuning in to The Drive. Thanks for being a part of the show. I'll be back with you tomorrow on our Friday edition. Until then, have a great night, everyone.
Retransmitting in Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.